This is the part that's kind of getting sucked into the northern part of the storm. The southern part of the storm is now starting to rotate, at least broadly. So now our attention is going to be turning to the south, and that's going to be along 59 from Defiance to Harlan. So unfortunately, we may be talking about another round trying to sneak through here on the back side of this storm system. So for now, my attention is really going to be up on the northern part of the storm, but I think it's safe to say that Chief Meteorologist Rhonda Mars and I, we're going to be watching the southern part of the storm very carefully over the next 15 minutes. But this is the part of the storm that's working its way north of Highway 30 and pretty much parallel to 59, working its way toward, I would say, between West Side and Denison into the very northeastern corner. So Deloitte, I would say, go ahead and take your tornado precautions as well. Ron, are you wanting to kick in here?
No, you're doing fine. I was just going to give a brief overview of, finish your thought there. And
yeah, so I think we're just still looking at kind of two areas of rotation. That is just to the south of Highway 30, and it's going to be working its way pretty much parallel to 59, pretty much straight north. But again, like I said, we're going to be watching this southern end of the storm for potential rotation as well, Ron.
Okay, I'm just going to step out real quick because there are so many people that live in so many different areas of Siouxland, obviously, but mostly just rain going on around here. If all of a sudden you're living here in the central sections of Siouxland, you're seeing rain, don't be overly concerned. The big storms are much farther off to the southeast. I understand Keith Bliven, we have his feed back possibly, is that correct? And where exactly is Keith right now? Okay, so this is the intersection of 59 and 141 with very heavy rain coming down at this time. We are continuing to see these storms work their way in these areas. Of course, Highway 59, if you've ever traveled in this area, and again, this is west of Manila, so Denison, the Highway 59 goes right through Denison, just in case you don't travel down this way very often. And so this is west of Manila. Continue to see some very heavy rain going on down there with that circulation, Kat.
There's a lowering there, and if he is on 141 and 59, he may be looking into what is potentially a tornado still on the ground there near Vail.
Yep.
If you look very carefully, it looks really low and ominous.
Totally.
And I think that potentially could be the area of concern that we've been talking about.
Exactly. You can see the brightening more on the left-hand side of your screen, that little thin strip right above the horizon. You just follow that to the right, and all of a sudden, when it's not so bright anymore, that's what Kat is talking about. That's the lowering probably that we have taking place, and potentially the tornado that is on the ground that we're looking at straight ahead there. And you can see how hard that can be, especially to the untrained eye of what you might be looking at in that kind of a situation. But yeah, you see the brightening on the left-hand side of your screen, and then the very dark area right above the horizon to the right. So more than likely that is the area that that we're referring to that we're so concerned about. If we head back to Doppler radar on Max 1 here that I have, again, you'll see that a lot of Siouxland is getting to be,
hey, Diana,
where we don't have to worry about being under the gun anymore. That includes central Siouxland at this time. Here in Sioux City, we have some rain, especially to the west and east of here. But it's, you can see how this is really getting confined now to southeastern Siouxland. It even points to the south of there. So this is where the greatest instability is. You can see down near Cruston, for example, another tornado warning there. And of course, our biggest concern is a place like Vail, Iowa. I'm heading down. I think we'll see Vail pop up real soon. Vail, Iowa, currently part of that tornado warning that is going on. This is where that tornado has been on the ground for a very long time and just kind of keeps circulating, it seems like. Now, as this continues to try to push its way to the north, you know, we're hoping it's going to be hitting this more stable air mass that has been keeping a lot of these cells a little farther down to the south, and maybe we'll get this thing to finally fall apart. But in the meantime, there is some really heavy rain coming down all the way along Highway 59. Boy, you head south of Denison, I guarantee you that is a lot of rain coming down. Harlan getting hit again. And again, if you weren't with us just a little while ago, there were reports from between Portsmouth that you see right there on the left-hand side of your screen and Harlan. All through that area right there is where they're saying there is some major damage that has taken place. All through here, including at least one home, if not more, destroyed. Sounds like Harlan itself may have been hit hard by this. And now they're just getting insult to injury here with a heavy thunderstorm going on just to the west of Harlan, moving through Harlan at this time, basically. So an unfortunate situation still going on down there, and we'll continue to wait to hear more of what we have had going on down that direction. But obviously it is southeastern Siouxland, especially still Crawford County, still under the gun, under that tornado warning, and I believe that goes until 7:30 if I remember correctly. So a tornado warning for the eastern part of Crawford County, and that does go until 7:30 p.m. for the cell that we see right there.
And yeah, it does appear that we still have at least some circulation ongoing right now, but the good news is that that circulation appears to be starting to weaken. Unfortunately, it's still right over Vail, so if you are in Vail, please continue to take your tornado precautions. Switching over to what we call debris detection and just trying to see if we're getting any kind of debris lofted in that area around Vail, and I don't see any. So what we're looking for here is a pretty big bright spot. We may actually be looking at one south of 141, actually, if you look at that. So looking over at the velocity radar here, not really seeing a lot of rotation there. So good news is I don't think we're seeing any debris being lofted currently on the radar. But I think, like Ron said, maybe our attention is going to start turning a little bit farther to the south with that strong thunderstorm that's currently impacting Harlan. Ron?
Yeah, there is a severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, in that area. We haven't talked as much about the severe thunderstorm warnings because of the importance of these tornado warnings that have been going on so far. But yes, right in Harlan, a big thunderstorm going on there. We could have some big hail coming out of that as well. That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 7:15. And again, that is right in the heart of Shelby County that has seen so much of the activity here this evening. So we're still talking about the far southeastern parts of the KTIV viewing region, getting in on some of the worst of this. The best rotation and likely a tornado still on the ground in the east central sections of Crawford County at this time. Continues to work its way off to the northeast. And I know the severe thunderstorm warning, that has it moving at 45 miles per hour now. I haven't seen the latest recently as to how fast the tornado itself is moving. Have you seen anything on that, Kat, recently about how fast that's moving?
Yeah, so it's moving, I believe, north at 30 miles an hour. But unfortunately, Ron, if you switch over to velocity radar, and we were hoping that things were improving, but now it looks like it's cycling back up again. So we may not be done with this storm yet. So unfortunately, I would say this is probably likely the developing tornado, if not a continuation of the tornado that we already have seen. I wouldn't be surprised to see this a developing tornado, if not already one that was already ongoing.
Yeah, so if you live in Vail, Iowa right now, you should be in your place of shelter. Still a very dangerous situation going on. We've seen video of this. We have seen the aftermath of this. We know the kind of night it is here in the far southern parts of the KTIV viewing areas. So this is nothing to be taken lightly tonight. Sometimes you see these areas of rotation and you might think, oh, that might not hit the ground. And I think we can all have a little quiet confidence about this stuff sometimes. And every once in a while, Mother Nature means business. And that is very much the case with this system that we have going on tonight. Outside of where that tornado is, we are having some very gusty winds.
Yeah, I'll leave you on what you're talking about, Ron, but it says a tornado has been observed less than a block from Senex in Defiance, Iowa, with debris at 6:51.
Yeah, I was just about to mention on radar scope here, and it looks like there is a new circulation just south of Manning or east.
That's the southern part of the storm that we were talking about, that we were going to be watching very carefully. So I have a feeling that tornado warning is going to be coming out here shortly. South of Manila there in the Defiance area, we have had some rotation showing up the last 2 scans or so that has been telling me that maybe we should be paying attention there. So we have multiple areas of rotation that we're looking at. If you want to pop me up on Weather 2 real fast while Ron gets set, I could show you what we're talking about. See if we can find...
Keith is reporting hail in Manila. He is located near Manila, so there's that too.
If you look on the Des Moines radar, Ron.
And here's a live lookout with Keith now really close to Manila, as we are seeing a new circulation, maybe a new tornado developing really close to Manila currently. New tornado warning just came through.
Yes, so that's that secondary rotation that's looking just to the southwest of Manila, and it's working to the northeast. So we have two tornadoes or 2 areas of tornadic rotation. If you can pull me up here on Weather 2 here on the key, I can show you what I'm talking about. But we've been watching the south side of this thunderstorm kind of recycle over and over again, and that's what we're looking at. So this is that tornado we originally were talking about. Here's the new tornado warning southwest of Manila, and we're that area of kind of convergence here that looks like a line on radar. This little spot's going to be an area we watch for more generation of tornadic activity. So this is our new tornado warning. It's just on the very corner southwest of Manila, heading toward Manila or just to the northwest side of Manila and to the northeast. And then we have another, what potentially, I would say, stronger rotation showing up on radar that is currently crossing Highway 30. So, Ron, are you wanting to jump in there? It looks like we've got damage too.
We are seeing debris signature popping up, so that's something to watch out in Manila.
Yeah, actually, if you're able to take Max 2, we can show the debris signature there. Very close to Manila, Iowa at this time. This is working its way off to the north. A tornado warning that has been issued for southeastern Crawford and west central Carroll counties. That goes until 7:30, and there we are seeing that right there. And yes, thank you for circling that for everybody. That is what we're looking at right there. So that's probably a signature and a sign to us that we have damage taking place, as a matter of fact. And I'm understanding that Keith Bliven is coming up on some damage here, and here he is and what he is finding.
Do we have a location on Keith?
He was 7.5 miles near Manila.
So is he to the west of Manila?
I don't know that much.
Okay, about 7.5 miles from Manila anyway. But yeah, you see trees there that have obviously been damaged. And boy, is that a gravel road that
If we can get like the actual road he's on, can we get a little bit better of just to make sure that Keith is safe? Because we have that secondary area of rotation or damage that's being popped up west of Manila. We want to make sure that Keith is safe. So if you can give us kind of an exact road, I'll look it up on maps and make sure he's safe for the moment.
And sometimes when we try to tell people to not try to outrun tornadoes and things like that, right there is an example why. You could be going down the road and thinking, hey, you're safe from this tornado that's behind you. Then all of a sudden you can't cross the road anymore because of some trees that have come down and such. So you can see that is an impassable gravel road that Keith has found there. So that'd be a dangerous situation, obviously, if you needed to get through there for any reason. So
it looks like Keith is on Highway 59 and 141, and they meet over near Buck Grove. So he is away from the tornado. That's where his current location is looking at right now.
He might be seeing damage from the first tornado that went through Manila, and then he may be even looking into the tornado, just can't see it from his vantage point. Yeah,
this tornado is on Highway 141. Be sure to get in your safe area now, as we are seeing a pretty well-defined debris ball really close to Manila.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to take Max 2, guys, and just get a quick view. Boy, it looks pretty windy there where Keith was just pulling away from, but there's what we're talking about right there. That is that debris ball very close to Manila right now. So they have a problem going on there. And again, there is Buck Grove on the left-hand side of your screen, and that's where it was being reported. Keith was.
So that's Keith, the little K I put on there. So he is away from the tornado that's currently on the ground. Just wanted to let everybody know that.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. He is getting some big rain now again, and big wind gusts. Yeah, I think we're seeing more damage there again too that we are seeing from looks like a tree down or part of a tree down there on the right hand side of the road. You see just some kind of debris thrown up onto the roadway right there, as a matter of fact. And if you guys can communicate with Keith, just make sure he's in a safe spot, everybody.
Let Keith know not to go down I-141 for at least another 5 minutes. Give him 5 minutes before he goes down 141.
Yeah, tell him not to go east on 141 if he's over near.
Are we seeing another debris ball popping up towards the side of that debris ball?
We may be. There may be a secondary tornado. Tell Keith if he can get west, that would be good.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate sight to see right there. You see the fire department going past him, and they're probably responding to what has been going on. And we just got to make sure everybody's in a safe situation down here.
Yeah, in the National Weather Service chat, it looks like a tornado was observed less than a block from Phoenix in Defiance, Iowa, with debris, and there is a photo in the National Weather Service chat. So there is a tornado currently.
What you just popped up there that I can see, Jacob, that is probably going on right now. Did you just say?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So, again, these are things that we can't necessarily show you because they're in National Weather Service chat software that we have access to. But yes, we are looking at the tornado that is ongoing very close to the CNEX in Defiance, Iowa. So if you're familiar with that area down there, I am not as familiar with that area, but This is one. We can see the tornado very well from the scenics down in Defiance, Iowa, and that had debris, and that was going on at 6:51 anyway. So that was about 10 minutes ago.
And they issued a new tornado warning, Ron. If you didn't see that,
I did not see that.
They just put it through. It's for that same tornado that's just north of Manila. That is heading towards the east. I don't know how fast it's going. Let me do my little question mark here.
45 miles per hour.
45 miles per hour.
Service, so if you could do that.
Damaging tornado and quarter-size hail. This is radar confirmed, but we are getting photos coming in to the National Weather Service chat with a tornado on the ground.
And the National Weather Service is saying that tornado is going to be close to Irwin by about 7:05. So we're just talking 3 minutes right there. So another dangerous situation. Northeastern Shelby County, a tornado warning going on until 7:45. And again, you can see the debris ball to the north of Manila, Iowa right now, and that's the very dangerous situation that we have there. Again, most of these cells moving at a pretty decent speed anymore to the north-northeast, right around 40-45 miles per hour.
I do want to take just a moment to sort of backtrack on this debris ball. It was really strong near Manila. Looks like it has decreased a bit as it has moved more towards the north of Manila. So that's some good news. Maybe we are seeing it maybe weaken a little bit. As you can see, I'm sort of pushing this back a little bit. It was a lot stronger a couple of minutes ago. Looks like it is increasing a little bit more as we continue to track this out. So that debris ball is just towards the north of Manila. Keith is live in Manila right now. Here's what we are seeing. Okay, go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Jacob. I just, so here is Keith Blevin. Again, he's the Director of Operations here at KTIV. He's been watching these storms down there with us, and you can see what they are experiencing right now. Huge rain, and I guess if he's very close to Manila, that tornado is not very far to the probably left of him if he's heading east there. So just kind of a dangerous situation down that way. You can see emergency vehicles that are pulled over. They're probably in that area because of what had already gone through. So. Yeah, go ahead, Kat.
Yes, so very frequently, Ron, at least in the plains in Kansas, towns will send their emergency personnel out of town as a tornado's coming into town. So this may be what they're doing is basically stationing their resources outside of town. So then once everything passes through, they can come back in and help rescue anybody that needs help.
Boy, a dangerous situation we still have ongoing right now in the southeastern part of the KTIV viewing area. This is the Manila, Iowa area that we're looking at right now. It looks like maybe Keith's picture just froze on us there. We're back. But this is just north of the highway down there close to Manila that we are looking at the best circulation. It looks like some of the circulation may not be quite as impressive right now, but I tell you what, this is that debris ball has been very impressive that we've been seeing.
I'm going to backtrack this just a little bit for you, Ron, just see that circulation, we pass it by. It was a lot stronger when it would pass over a 141, but it's still a tight circulation, but it doesn't look to be as tense as it was when it was close to Manila.
And it did look like that we had two areas of debris. We had this kind of green spot that's showing up here, and that is kind of that larger area of debris that unfortunately likely coming from Manila, and then we had a secondary area of debris here to the west. So I believe, Ron, you probably believe the same thing. There was likely two tornadoes on the ground here as that crossed 141 and into 59. So there is still debris being lofted into the storm. So this tells us that unfortunately someone was likely the victim of two of these tornadoes as they came through.
Pretty impressive stuff, and you never know what that debris is. It could be trees, parts of a house, things like that. It's whatever happens to be in the way of the tornado, then all of a sudden Doppler radar is able to pick that up within a storm. So that debris ball can be very helpful to us to at least have an idea of what we have going on. And the circulation continues to look pretty impressive from Vail over toward Deloitte, Chiron area. That entire region really under the gun right now. So if you live in any of these areas, you need to be taking shelter immediately. The tornado warning is ongoing in that area, and even just to the east of there as well, just getting into the Carroll, Iowa area. Also, just to let you know, the southwestern part of Shelby County now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30 as yet another cell is moving in down there. At least that one's not a tornado warning, but still.
It is a tornado warning now in Harrison County, yes. So we have how I was kind of saying earlier, the north side's kind of weakening, the south side's starting to spin up. So we have Harrison County, we have a tornado warning there now, and this is an area that we had kind of a little bit of a hook. So got this little hook area here that is starting to pick up a little bit more. It's moving into spots that have a lot of what we call juice or fuel in the atmosphere. So as these kind of start to fade away, hopefully, unfortunately, we're going to start to see this become the dominant area of concern here shortly, which is very typical of this situation, the cycling that's happening. The north side of the storm starts to weaken. We see the south side. Ron?
Yeah, and it was actually this farther south one that I was talking about. It's the new severe thunderstorm warning for the southwestern part of Shelby County there. That goes until 7:30. And notice right between Neola and Oakland, Iowa, how quickly that cell kind of developed here within the last 30 minutes. I think we have this thing going. So in the last 30 minutes, we went from nothing to a severe thunderstorm there for that cell right there. So yet another one moving its way towards Shelby County, as if you haven't had enough already there in Shelby County. But again, we're much more interested in what's going on farther to the north of there with this cluster of tornado warnings we have. I'm just going to take the sweeping radar off real quick here, and you can see the tornado warnings in progress as we speak. We were somewhat optimistic when we were down to one warning for a time. We thought there was just the one tornado, but unfortunately you can see how there are 3 different tornado warnings in effect now. None of these classic looking really right now. Would you say, Kat, when you look at this, you usually think of those discrete supercells being the ones that you're most concerned about. So not a classic look when you just look at radar like this, but obviously they're doing their job.
Yeah, they're kind of transitioning from that classic supercell now over to a line, but as we know, very typically in this area, we can see lines have what we call QLCS tornadoes, and that's what we're kind of transitioning to, is this different type of condition here within the storm. So we have that area of rotation that has moved to the north, but a new one has developed back here just to the east of Denison, and then we have another area of rotation to the south that has a tornado warning there as well. So we have multiple spots with rotation, and then that new tornado warning that is for the southern part of Harrison County. So this is technically out of our viewing area. We have rotation back here that will be moving in to Harrison County as well. Ron?
So that cell I was telling you about that had become a severe thunderstorm warning, well, sure enough, just like that, it has become a tornado warning. It seems like these cells have a heck of a time not producing a tornado right now. And how often do you say that on these kinds of nights? But yes, another tornado warning now in effect for eastern Shelby County. This goes until 8 p.m. That cell is moving. You can see that at the far bottom side of your screen. Yeah, right there. Thank you very much for zooming into that. Appreciate that. This cell, they are now saying, is moving to the northeast at 60 miles per hour. This one is Doppler radar indicated rotation located near Minden, and we've talked about Minden already tonight, being one of the spots that has already been hit by these storms. Avoca and Shelby, it would be to you by about 7:15. So these are areas that have already seen these storms, obviously, and they're getting yet another round of them. And then into the Harlan area. We know Harlan's been hit already tonight by about 7:20. So again, this is Doppler radar indicating rotation within this new cell that has just developed. So we have eastern Shelby County now under a tornado warning that goes until 8 p.m. So another very impressive line of storms able to be sustaining themselves yet again, just when we were thought maybe they were washing out a little bit. It does not seem to be the case, and they are cycling once again, and it seems more tornadoes trying to be produced as we speak here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are just, it happens to be where we are in proximity to the low. So this big low pressure system is spinning pretty much right over top of us, and that's really what's creating the spin in the atmosphere for these thunderstorms to continue to spin. We're right on the warm front, so that's creating a lot of the lift here. And then we got just enough sunshine in our far southeastern corner today that did pick up enough instability. So it was able to kind of create this atmosphere that's unstable, allowing air to move up really quickly. And that is a big reason why we're seeing the situation that we have right now. So switching over to velocity radar, we kind of have little spots here and there of all these spots of rotation. We're kind of flipping between the Omaha and Des Moines radar. Basically, it's hard to get a really great look of what's going on in these thunderstorms because we're kind of in between radars, and that makes things difficult just because tornadoes happen at the very bottom part of the storm. And sometimes when we're this far away from the radar, we're looking into the middle or even the upper part of the storm. So just because of our distance away from the radar, sometimes it's a little bit harder to see rotation on radar at this time. So Ron, is there anything you want to add?
No, I completely agree with you. It is getting a little hard to see some of those right now. And that's what I was trying to do too on another machine. But all these cells, as they have formed, it seems like throughout the day they keep moving a little bit faster. So this latest cell, they seem to be moving at about 60 miles per hour. And maybe we could do a quick storm track of that just to try to give you an idea of this latest cell. Again, because it's going to be affecting some of these same darn areas that have already been hit by tornadoes tonight. So I'm going to take this out at the point of origin here to the northeast. And actually, let's see, if you can go to max 1 here, trying to do a storm track on this, moving at 60 miles per hour. There we have Hancock by about 7:20. We were talking about Avoca and Harlan. Harlan by about 7:36 is when this would be to you. Manning by about 7:59, and then Rosalie, that would happen by about 8:09 or so. So again, that cell moving really quickly at about 60 miles per hour. So a dangerous situation all through these areas. Please, if you live in these areas, please make sure you are taking cover immediately, because these have a history of producing tornadoes. We have seen what they can do, and you don't want to mess with these tonight, that is for sure. Let me check out what is going on. I'm going to give you the broader perspective real quick. Okay, so I'm hearing that we have come across more storm damage. This is outside of Manila. This looks a little bit like maybe that road that Keith was on for a little while there, a dirt road that you just cannot go on. So a gravel road that is basically blocked by debris. Look at those trees and how they've just been snapped off in some of those areas. It gives you an idea of the power of the winds that move through this region. Looks like there's a police officer right there that Keith is very close to. Pretty incredible stuff. We have heard of so many reports in these areas. We're talking from Harlan, just to the west of there, to Plattsmouth. There was a corridor through there that had some major damage, we've been told. At least one home being destroyed, and I think there's probably been multiple buildings damaged in these things tonight. We've even seen a report over near in Stanton County of some damage there. So it's not just all in the west central part of Iowa. It also extends over into northeast Nebraska, where we saw some of these. And there's a great view right there. Look at how those trees have just been snapped off. And yeah, that's one of the things you kind of learn about in meteorology, like how these trees can be affected by these kinds of winds.
Yeah, sometimes they can be toppled over, sometimes they can be snapped off in the middle. Things we're looking for are if they are debarked, or all their leaves and little twigs are basically pulled down to basically one big stem of the trunk. So there's different ways that tornadoes can impact trees like this, and I would say seeing them cut off kind of in the middle would say, I think that's at least EF1 damage as it stands right now, possibly higher,
yeah,
with
possibly higher.
Being them cut off and not toppled, rather.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm being told this is near a cemetery west of Manila there.
And unfortunately, Ron, a storm spotter from KCCI said that tornado near Manila just a few minutes ago at 1:41 was wrapped in rain, but it was a large wedge tornado from what they could see.
It was. And we had seen a great view earlier in the evening of a wedge tornado that was taking place. So we know what those look like now. Boy, I'm sure people who have not watched a lot of tornadoes were learning a lot this afternoon, because we started with a couple cone tornadoes we had seen, and then all of a sudden they became larger as we got into the later afternoon. And now here we are in the evening hours. It's 7:15 in the evening. You're seeing some of the damage on Highway 141, or at least very close to Highway 141, west of Manila. This is close to a cemetery where some trees have been snapped off by a tornado that went through there. We continue to see tornado warnings in association with the cell that probably produced this as it continues to work its way off to the northeast. I believe this cell was usually moving around 45 miles per hour, although I will say the latest warning that was issued, National Weather Service is tracking that to be going at about 60 miles per hour at this time. And velocity continues to show some evidence that there is still rotation going on between Vail and Arcadia, and you see two warnings kind of almost bisecting each other there. From the cells that we have going on there. What are you seeing, Kat?
Yeah, I think I would not be surprised if the National Weather Service does end up issuing a tornado warning for the Lakeview area. Jacob, I know you're busy back there, but maybe if you could kind
No,
of
I
look
was
around
actually
on Lake.
looking at that, Kat. I actually turned our camera around.
Thank you so much.
Looking at that, if they want to take a live look outside of our Lakeview cam, I am messing around with it right now. There is a chance that maybe seeing that circulation increase and stay together heading into Lakeview. So if you are over into Lakeview, Iowa, be sure you are sort of watching the weather and getting into your safe areas. We could maybe see a new tornado warning get issued for y'all. That does maybe even include Sac City. So once again, we are watching that circulation just towards the south of Lakeview. Could you zoom in a little bit more and see if there's any roads there to see if there are any roads? Not a whole lot of roads located in that area. The next big town that we could maybe see that circulation is going to be up towards Lakeview. So Lakeview, if you're watching, be sure you are staying weather aware and be on the lookout in case this tornado warning does get extended more north.
And that very well could happen, Jacob. So thank you for that. That's a very good point of what we're seeing there. Seeing it's continuing to lift its way to the north. That would be going into another county. So at this point, not under a tornado warning, but not too far to the south of there, obviously. There is still some rotation taking place at this time. And all these cells have had a history of basically producing tornadoes. So we got to take all these seriously, even though we're getting later into the day and toward the part of the day where we thought a lot of these might start lifting their way to the east. And they are. It's just slower go of it, I think, than what any of us want, because these cells, they keep on developing. Look south of Des Moines right now, for example, just to give you an idea. Look at the tornado warnings in place down there as we speak. So there is still a lot of activity taking place from these cells that we have going on.
Yeah, and just to kind of give you a broad overview of meteorologically what's happening here, to give Ron a little break to reset. So what's going on is when we start to see the sun go down, we have a low pressure system in the vicinity. We get this thing developed called the low level jet. So it's basically a jet of very low level air that's southerly coming off the Gulf of Mexico. It typically is warm, moist air, and it's basically being pumped into these storms. And these storms are rotating because of how close we are to the low pressure system. And that's why we're getting just spots of rotation all around here, is because we're getting the fuel and the spin from a multitude of things here. And that's why we really have more and more tornado warnings popping up along this line. Now, the good news is that it is a line. So at least I would say it's looking up in terms of the fact that we are starting to see kind of those cells merge together and create less of an issue as it would be if it were a lonely supercell out in the middle of nowhere. So at least that's at least some good news here. But switching over to our velocity radar, I still would not be surprised if they go ahead and issue that tornado warning for Wall Lake to Lakeview. So I think I'm kind of watching for that. That's probably one of the tighter areas of rotation that we're seeing right now. Going down the line, we have another area of rotation here south of West Side. It's going to be moving off to the northeast to Highway 30 as well. So it's kind of working this way. And then we have more areas of rotation down to the south, depending on what radar you look at. Kind of hard to see, but I would say it doesn't look as interesting farther to the south, but the southern cell has probably the most